terms of how we accommodate it on site. Doesn't mean you can't go there, but it does mean that you got to have a way of doing it and addressing those kinds of issues. And you've raised them tonight, and that's what helps us to do a much better job.
The handout that, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. That's
The
okay.
handout that was out on the table, staff recommended conditions. Staff, is that you folks?
Yes, and that's the preliminary conditions. Remember in the beginning, I think you were here when I did my introductory comments, I said we've got some preliminary conditions that we can talk from. You're going to want to talk about other things that you want to have addressed. Tricia got up and gave us a series of additional conditions that she had discussed with the applicant already and that he had agreed to, and some that she said she was interested in having. And that's why I've been talking through these things that you've raised questions about, but we don't yet have answers to, and we're going to try to address those.
Is it standard procedure for you as staff just to go ahead and approve things conditionally?
No, this, remember.
You could have killed it right and you're...
No, sir, I can't.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, I think you weren't here at the beginning when I said.
Possibly
The
not.
staff makes recommendations. Only the mayor and city council can take an action on a zoning case. Anybody has a right to file a rezoning on their property. Anybody. Any of you, any of me, anyone.
So it's routine for you to go ahead and approve?
We always recommend conditions because whether we recommend approval or denial on the case, the only people who make the decision to approve it or not approve it are the mayor and city council. And if it should be approved, even if we recommend denial, there have to be a set of conditions there so that we have addressed those implications of the case that could occur if they choose to do something which is contrary to our recommendation. We're just staff. We just make a recommendation based on their existing policies and the ordinances that are in effect and the analysis that we do. But they have the discretion to make those decisions.
So what closed it for you was the 1,400 square feet, cars, we're good?
No, we're not done. We're just, this is the first, I
mean,
said it's
that's when you
preliminary.
approve
This
the
is just
condition.
preliminary. This is just the preliminary analysis, and I said, tonight's the night we're going to talk about the other issues that you think are there that we need to address. It will look different by the time it goes to planning commission because you've addressed issues and now we're going to try to deal with them. Yes, sir.
Could you just clarify one point about the 83 existing parking spaces? Does that include or exclude those in the basement which will be lost when you use the basement?
Excludes. There are 51 on-site and 32 off-site, making a total of 83 spaces.
Off-site being on post office land?
Post office land, but not,
No,
I'm
I
talking
understand.
about
Yeah.
the property that's right adjacent to it. And one other point, the final point, that I think the gentleman back from the back asked about the classrooms and that
When
kind
you
of
say
thing. I've
adjacent,
given-
what do you mean?
If you go by that site, it looks like it's part of
Is
the
that
site.
along that lower edge?
Along the eastern edge between the parking lot and between the building
Where
for,
that grass.
Church Asylum?
Where that grass.
yes
where that-
ma'am,
Okay, okay.
it's between, parking, the postal service property is pretty much all pavement.
Well, yeah, the bare,
And then-
that part is all zoned out of, is there?
It's fenced off. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is the property that lies between the paving for the postal service property and the church property. So it's a funny shaped piece of property that resulted from the way the original zoning of this property was done. It was originally, there were other buildings associated with the 83 zoning that were behind us, and they combined it with other property as you go down Glen Ridge to form the postal service property. But access needed to be maintained for the church property. Going back to the other point though, I have provided Ms. Kelly with a copy of the plans, the architect or the engineering or architectural plans of the building, and so we've provided those for the neighbors.
Okay, I'm going to, at this point, close the meeting. If anybody has any additional questions, we'll hang around a little longer and try to answer them. But thank you very much for coming. You've been very helpful.
Thank you, ma'am.